Welcome to Treasure Valley Podcast. I am Chuck. Today's episode is brought to you by LowerGentry Studios. Here at LowerGentry Studios, we create thought-provoking content with integrity, and we enjoy every aspect because we are hedonists. You can go to www.lowergentrystudios.com to check out all our original content, which includes this podcast, 2 feature films, and a web series entitled Canyon County.
Wow, you said that a lot faster this time. And the,
Good work.
And the theme music's still going.
That was great.
Thank you.
I
Thank
love
you very much. Today with us, we have our guest Alvin from 2C Family Brewing.
Alvin from 2C Fam.
We got Elliot.
And I'm Zoe.
Actually,
and Zoe.
Should go that 2C Fam.
I tried to beat you. I really wanted to introduce myself.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm Zoe.
So why is today special?
Today is special because on this day in history, in 1997, October 15th, Andy Green, a famous British Royal Air Force pilot, broke the land speed record. He broke the sound barrier in a car.
Wait,
Way to go, Andy.
Car?
Way to go, Andy.
A jet-powered car.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I thought that was in a plane, like a jet.
No, land speed record.
Oh man, I
A
really
jet
didn't listen
on
very
land.
well.
So basically, they made a car into a jet, and then instead of the wing-producing lift that would put it in the air, it just kind of slammed it down into the ground so it wouldn't go anywhere.
Have you guys ever seen the movie Indian?
No.
You should watch that movie.
Yeah.
It's about a guy who drove a 1955
A little bit closer to the mic there, Alvin.
a 1955 Indian and broke the land speed record with duct tape on his Indian. He basically duct taped it all together, including himself, and he burned his legs and everything. It's a really cool story, though.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that.
It's called the Indian?
It's called The Indian, yeah.
They got another one coming out about the guy that raced the Ford GT.
Oh, yeah.
Ferraris.
Yeah, that I'll be watching that.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
want to see that.
I'm a car geek anyway, so
I know nothing about cars.
yeah.
So all of this conversation has been very...
Usually they go forward if you put it in D, whatever that means.
Yeah,
then,
yeah,
And
D.
then backwards if you put it in R.
Which doesn't make
DNR.
any sense because it starts with an R
Yeah.
and not B. I'm always looking for B for
Forward.
backwards.
Should have F and B.
Yeah.
Forward and back. Yeah, that's it.
That would
Keep
make
it
the
simple.
most sense.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Right on.
So we have the 2C Family Brewery guy, so should we talk about beer today?
Yes, we have a
would
special
be good.
beer episode for all of you.
All right, here it comes. We have a jingle, though. Ready for the jingle?
I'm ready.
Okay, here it comes.
I like that. I was getting into it right there at the end, yeah.
Our theme songs always leave you wanting more.
Yeah.
We're going to have to turn it into an album at some juncture.
Oh, dear
We'll do the 3-minute versions.
No, I think that one's supposed to go for 12 minutes. That's like the epic, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the backside.
Yeah. and flip over to side 2 for the
Right,
beer
right.
theme.
Yeah. So we don't have any beer.
I know. I didn't even think about that as
I
we were
didn't either.
transitioning in here.
Yeah.
I was thinking of it as I was driving to your studio about I should have gone back and gotten beer. But then I would have been late.
Oh, well.
It's okay. We can talk about beer. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about business today.
That's even more important, yes.
Because I think we're in an interesting environment right now where there are a lot of microbreweries opening. So there are people that the market must not be saturated.
Yep.
And there are a lot of people that are out there trying to do what you're doing.
Right.
And there must be some very valuable lessons that you've picked up in the process of opening a brewery and things that with the regulations along with the business end.
Yeah, how much time do we have here, Chuck?
We usually run about 20 minutes. So,
Okay,
yeah.
so
But real fast, though, we should probably say that 2C Family Brewing is in downtown Nampa.
Yes.
Across the street. It's on, what street is that?
It's on First Street South, 1215 First Street South,
Okay.
downtown Napa. Yeah.
So if you guys know where the taco place is, Mesa Tacos, right? It's right next door.
Yeah, we're
right?
Mesa's right next door. We got Holy Cow across the street. We got Messenger Pizza across the street. We have all 3 food groups right next door, which you can bring into our place and drink our beer and eat. And then we have Pre-Funk Beer Bar, which is one of the best beer bars. Actually, it is the best beer bar in all of Treasure Valley. So I think.
Yeah?
Anyway,
You like Pre-Funk?
I love Pre-Funk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to love the one downtown, but I guess it's not Pre-Funk. No,
They're changing.
they're changing it to Post-Funk or
They're gonna
the Funk.
they're gonna put a restaurant there. as well.
Yeah. No, I just remember reading the article where it's just like, we're not going to pre-funk anymore. We're going to be
post-funk.
or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We
Anyway.
have a post-funk saison that we have on tap. So
Oh, really?
yeah, it's in homage to them. Yeah. So,
Awesome.
yeah. So okay. So the thing with
What's the first thing that somebody should have in mind if they think to themselves, I want to open a brewery? I'm going to do this.
Examine yourself very closely and make sure you can handle it. Because it is a very, everybody will tell you it takes twice as much money and twice as much time to open a brewery as you think. It actually takes 3 or 4 times as much money and 3 or 4 times as much time to open a brewery. So there's that. Yeah, I was going to talk to the whole why breweries are exploding thing. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
can we get you just a little bit closer to the
yeah,
mic, though?
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll get my seat up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that better?
Yeah, it's way
okay.
better.
Great.
Perfect.
Okay, so everybody looks at breweries as a gold mine. Basically, it's a money printing machine, and it's not. Absolutely not. So
is that just the analysis of the cost for production versus the?
well, you have a huge capital cost in your equipment,
Okay.
Yeah.
right? And in your space. For example, we spent almost a little bit over $12,000 just on the floor itself.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and then you got the equipment, and our equipment cost us around $140,000 total. And then you have the building that you and if you've never been there, it's a 115-year-old building, so we're like shoehorning a brewery into a place that never meant to have a brewery in there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so that in itself is costly, but at the same time you get that ambiance when you come in there of the old brick and the old wood and everything like
And the
that.
location, too.
And the location
Yeah.
is perfect. Yeah, we couldn't ask for a better location than where we are. But everybody sort of looks at it like I can make a lot of money at. Well, you're not going to get rich running a brewery. You're doing it because you love running a brewery, or you love beer. That's the only reason to do it, right? I mean, I'm sure you guys do podcasts because you just love doing podcasts.
No, we do it for the money.
Do you really?
Yeah.
No.
Is there a lot of money? Should I be doing something else?
Yeah, I mean, you walk through our house. You obviously know there's a lot of money in this.
Yeah, this is. Everybody is watching this. They have a palatial mansion right here in downtown Napa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Built on this podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
But no, we enjoy just bringing people on, chatting with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Love
sure.
it.
So you gotta love it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the first thing. If you don't love it, you can't make it work. I've been to breweries where it's obvious the love isn't there. You know, and it's obvious to people. We created 2C Family, and we call it 2C Family Brewing because we want everybody to feel like they're part of our family when they come in our place, right? And that's what we try to promote when you come in there. Promote's the wrong word. We try to instill in people when they come in that they're our family. That's more like it. So anyway, so yeah, the business of brewing is so 4 years ago there were 3,000 craft breweries, about 3,200 in the United States. Now there's over 8,000.
Dang.
The Brewers Association is estimating that there's 2.5 breweries opening every day in the United States.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is like, you talk about your saturation, right? So there are clearly markets where it's been saturated. And Napa is not one. We're 100,000 people. When I tell other brewers that we're the third brewery to open in 100,000 people, they go, "Are you crazy? How do I get in on that?" Right? You know, so, there's towns in Colorado with 18,000 people that have 18 breweries.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they're successful.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, yeah, even when you go to Bend, like how big is Bend? Bend's
yeah,
like
Bend.
60,000
Exactly,
people, but there's
right?
like 70 breweries there.
well,
Yeah.
even if you go to Baker City, where Barley Brown's is, right? There's another brewery going in there. There are only 9,000 people live in that town.
Yeah.
So in the old days, you know, you'd have a brewery for every 4,000 or 5,000 people. So if you extrapolate to Napa, we should have 20, 30 breweries there.
Oh, wow.
You know, and Boise only has about 20 breweries. And they're like 3 times as big as us.
So there's still room.
There's still room.
Nice.
You just have to find your niche.
Right on.
Yeah.
So do you think the breweries that have kind of gone by the wayside, because I know of a few in the Treasure Valley, so that's basically just been a faulty business model? Because I remember like people were talking about a couple of years ago, we're reaching like brewery saturation.
Yeah, it's not
points.
brewery saturation. It's the fact that the quality of brewing isn't up there.
Yeah.
Here.
True.
And then, I mean, you compare us to Portland, or you compare us to Bend or Seattle or any of those places where a brewery pops up every day almost. And the thing is they have to make their beer the best they can, right? where people were going to come in and say, that's the best beer I can have. That's what we're trying to do. But yeah, I think part of it is beer quality, and part of it is they make the same kind of beer as everybody else. So they haven't defined their niche.
Yeah, I suppose when you're around here, it's just like everybody has an IPA, everybody has a pale ale.
Exactly, which is why we don't.
So did you make that decision before you opened?
Absolutely.
Like, so you're kind of going. I mean, can you explain what you're doing with your beer?
Sure. So we make Belgian and German inspired beers, which means a lot of lagers, which is the hardest beer to make, and it's also the newest trend in brewing is lagers, and we didn't do it because of the trend, because we were planning on this 3 years ago, and the rest of the industry is sort of people are drinking. So but in addition to our regular IPA, our hazy IPA, now we'll throw in a lager. Well, unless you know what you're doing with a lager, you can't really do that. You really have to focus on it. It costs more to do a lager. It takes longer to do a lager. Yeast is different. The yeast doesn't activate unless it's very low temperature, and a lot of breweries aren't set up for that. So the other part of it was Mark Skibout, who's my business partner, and I really love Germans and Belgians. So we want.
Well, there comes like the passion part, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, if I go to my brewery and I go, I'm tired of drinking my IPA, that's pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I I can drink a Saison, or I can drink a Quad, or we just put on, by the way, a secret first announcement ever. We have a secret launch tonight of our chocolate Belgian Quad.
Oh, wow.
It's 12.5% full of chocolate.
Oh my gosh.
12.5%.
And we cut you off after 2 because it's 12.5. But so we want to do that kind.
That's probably pretty smart.
Those kinds. The other thing we want to do is we want to go out in the world and beat the competition. So we're going up. We're actually entered in a competition next year in London to go up against Belgians and German beers.
Oh, right on.
My
Dang.
gosh.
Yeah.
Dang, that's awesome.
Great.
And I have another little secret thing that could happen. I'm not sure if it's going to happen yet, but I've been talking with Prost about doing a blind taste testing, and if we can beat them, they will actually put on their very first American-made beer in Prost.
Oh, nice.
Heck yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's what we're going for. We're going for quality, and we're going for the top end of everything. It's just like a restaurant. Brick 29, which is a great restaurant here in Napa, they go for a really high-quality product, and that's what we're trying to do as well. So if you define your niche correctly, you should be successful. And if you don't, then you're just like everybody else, and then you got to really beat them on what everybody else is doing. And IPA, frankly, has become a commodity. I call it hop fatigue. I got hop fatigue about 3 years ago, from drinking too many IPAs.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of people come in thanking us, thank you for not making such a hoppy beer.
I'm kind of starting to feel that way too. And the beer that came into town from Delaware, the Dogfish Head.
Dogfish Head, yeah.
Yeah, they have a different take.
It's the East Coast IPAs, which are totally different from the West Coast IPAs.
Yeah, and it's been kind of nice. It's been refreshing to have that option. I mean, as well as your beers. I've been into your place
thank you.
quite a few times, and it's nice to go in there and not necessarily just default to the IPA.
Whatever the IPA is,
Although we do have a Belgian IPA, but it's totally different.
Yeah,
it is
completely different.
Yeah, your Belgian IPA is delicious, though.
Thank you.
You have an Imperial though too, right?
It's an Imperial IPA.
Oh, okay, that's the one I was thinking. I was thinking you had a pale ale on tap before.
We do have a pale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did. Well, actually, it went off today.
Oh, okay.
So
never mind.
But we got it coming back. Yeah, it's coming back. So yeah.
Very good. So what would you recommend besides? Or what are some of your stories? Because obviously, if somebody needs to find a niche, you did that, and you're talking about 3 years ago. You started to open the business.
That's when we started,
and you guys opened your front doors over the summer. If I'm not
wasn't
mistaken.
that July?
About 3.5 weeks ago, or 3.5 months ago. Sorry. 3.5 months.
So that's a long time.
Yep. Yeah. Well, part of that was the building itself.
Okay.
Right, because it takes a long time to rehabilitate an old building. Part of it is that. We lost our head brewer, and so we had to wait a while to find somebody.
Yeah.
And then, and that happens to a lot of people. I didn't know that, but I found out later that happens more than likely. the guy that we had was really great. He made our first 5 beers. We were actually brewing over at Edge Brewing. I want to shout out to Edge because they've been really good friends to us.
Yay, thanks, Edge. We love you.
Yeah, we do.
Thanks for paying me.
Oh yeah, so contributing to Zoe's half of the mortgage is great too. Yeah.
So they were really great. But so he was fantastic. He came to us from Reno, Nevada, and he was specified on Belgian beers, which is exactly what we wanted. And all his beers got great reviews whenever we got. If you go look at our beers on Rate Beer or on Beer Advocate, we're like in the top 10 percentile, I would say.
Oh, nice.
On our beers. And part of that is because the first beers that came out were his. Right. So we got a new brewer. His name is Daniel Shammy, who's been on your show before.
Yes.
Yeah. And Daniel has done a fantastic job, and we're getting the same kind of reviews from his beers as from those. That's the other part of getting a niche is you get a brewer who is more excited about making that than he is about making the next IPA.
Yeah. Oh, and Danny's so excited. I mean,
yes, yeah.
Y'all let my Science of Fermented Food class come in.
Yes. Oh, you were in that class? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Get talked to by Danny, and his excitement is just infectious.
It
and
is
it
infectious.
Really bleeds into the work. You know, you got to have that passion.
Yeah, I hear him laughing back there all the time. It's fantastic. And Madison, our first brewer, shout out to Madison Guris from Reno. Very much different than Danny was. Danny is. Danny's very effervescent.
Yes.
You know, whereas Madison was very businesslike and getting it done, but his recipes were fantastic. So we actually really got lucky on both ends of those. Both of them sort of fell into our lap because it's very that's the one thing about opening up a startup brewery in the Treasure Valley is there's not a lot of in-valley talent to draw from. Yeah. So you can't just go, like Edge has 4 different assistant brewers that are dying to become their own head brewer. They don't have that. You know, even Payette or Sockeye doesn't have that. So we had to go outside of the territory to find Madison, and then Danny, it just right timing, right place, everything happened for him. So I can't recreate that. Right. And we have expansion plans and opening other breweries around the county and other tap rooms. There's sort of a shift change or a paradigm shift, if you will, of the business model for how to be successful as a small brewery. We're a 10-barrel brewery. We're very small. We're at the smallest edge of actually being a viable commercial brewery. Is 10 barrels. So the previous model was to go out, get with a distributor, get your beer distributed out there, and then you make very small margins on that beer.
Really?
But you make, so
it needs to be mass quantity in order to make it
you have
worthwhile.
to be mass quantity,
Okay.
yeah.
I've heard shipping is one of the biggest issues with
that.
It
is. I mean, they've got to pay for shipping, but they also, the distributor makes their middleman between us and the retailer, and so the distributor forces a price on us that they can make a profit on selling it to the retailer. Yeah. Whereas I could go direct to the retailer, and in Idaho you can brew up to 5,000 barrels and do a direct distribution on your own. Okay. So we can, which will never be that big, but I can go directly to a retailer like a Pre-Funk, for example, and sell them my beer for the same price that the distributor is selling it for, and I can make more money on it. Okay. Now, that same half barrel of beer that I sell to them, I make 6 or 7 times as much in my tap room. Right. Yeah. Selling it by the pint, right?
Yeah. So it's better to open up another tap
Absolutely.
room at a certain juncture, yeah.
So in Idaho, they allow you to have 2 tap rooms per production facility. Okay. And we can have up to 2 production facilities. So that means we could have 4 tap rooms in Treasure Valley. Okay. And that's our goal. Okay. So that's how we're going to grow that way.
Oh, right on. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so that's the most viable.
Right now, that's the most viable model for a small brewery.
So it's the tap room is strategic then, because if you're just brewing your own beer, it probably isn't as valuable to distribute it yourself even.
It isn't. I lose money when compared to the profit margin I get off of what I sell in my taproom, but there is a value to selling it to retailers, and that's basically branding and marketing.
Yeah.
I always
So if you get
wonder why some smaller local breweries, you can only find maybe a 22 ounce of their beer in the store and not, 6-packs and all these variety packs and da-da-da-da.
That's very
That's
expensive.
why.
It's very expensive to do that, right? We call that packaging. So you either go in bottles or cans, right? A canning line, just to buy one, is going to cost you about $120,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so there are mobile canners that will come to your place and can for you. But even then, when you're selling your can, you're getting pennies on the dollar what you could get selling it in a glass in your tap room, where you have actual control over the beer.
Yeah.
Instead of Albertsons having it or whatever, right?
So leave it in the hot sun for like 5 days.
Who knows, right? Who knows, right? It doesn't, not, I'm sure they wouldn't do it on purpose.
No.
But,
I pointed that out. I remember when Sockeye started canning, I found someone at a grocery store. They had it all out, and they weren't they were supposed to stay chilled when they first started because it was not.
You should say chilled from the brewery out. Yeah,
exactly. And so I'm like, this isn't.
Yeah, they were just like sitting outside, like in the 90
at all.
degree. Yeah,
yeah.
Well, no, I guarantee you they pasteurize the beer.
Oh, do they?
They do. Yeah, we all do. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much what you do. So, so when we make a beer, after we make a mash, which is the liquid on top of the grains.
Mm-hmm.
We take that liquid out and put it in a kettle, and we raise it up to boiling to pasteurize it.
Oh, okay.
You have to do that, or else you get pathogens and all kinds of stuff in your beer that give you, worst case, off flavor. Worst case is poisoning.
Yeah.
The best case would be off flavor.
What would cause the beer to skunk more quickly?
What causes beer to skunk it is actually UV rays.
Okay.
That's why Heineken in a green bottle.
Yeah.
It doesn't block UV rays is skunk beer.
Yeah.
Any beer you buy in a
Corona.
Do not buy beer unless it's in a brown bottle, please. Period.
Wow.
Or a can. Can's even better.
Yeah.
Because it blocks everything. 100%. Right?
Huh.
So I think brown bottles block 95%. So it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Right on.
What about Corona? So I can't drink.
A lot of lime.
So what skunks a beer is the hops.
Okay.
The hops cause the skunkiness. Like if you drink a Heineken, everybody's drinking Heineken before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know that's skunked. So Corona has very few hops in it, therefore it doesn't get skunked. Our beers are not hop forward beers.
No.
That's not our main taste comes from the yeast and from the malt, and therefore we could probably survive a little bit longer, but we still use hops, and that would still skunk if you had the UV rays hitting it. So yeah.
Right on. That's good to know.
Stainless steel is your friend.
In the bottle. It's best just to go right to the brewery and drink it right out.
Yeah,
right.
It's better
at the brewery.
It's better for you as a consumer.
Amen.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's better for
the money's going to the right spot.
Yes.
What did you learn about regulations and how was that process navigating that opening up a brewery?
So regulations was interesting. I talked to a lot of brewers before, a lot of local brewers here that are my friends, and they've all had different experiences with it.
Mm-hmm.
I found it not to be that bad. I found it to be pretty easy. The federal is the easiest.
Okay.
The state is the hardest, and the local is the next easiest. So
Okay.
Napa's been great with us. ABC, Idaho ABC, took a little bit longer, but they were fine. And then TTB, which is the IRS, they collect the taxes on our beer for feds, and they were the easiest by far.
Okay, so you're paying taxes just for brewing, kind of? Or
absolutely.
How does that work?
Yeah,
okay.
So we pay taxes before you buy our beer.
Okay.
So one of the reasons why beers have gone up because they've raised the taxes.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the reasons you're paying $6 a pint instead of $5 a pint is because the government has raised taxes somewhere along the way, or some ingredient like hops have gone up in price.
Okay.
So yeah.
So how does that work when they tax you then before you even? So we obviously there's sales tax.
Yeah, sales. I'm not even talking about sales tax.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about ABC tax and
Okay.
TTB tax. So
Okay.
TTB, they go off of what your production is. It doesn't matter how much you sell.
Okay.
So you just report how many
You
barrels
report how
have.
much you make.
Yeah.
Exactly. How many you have for sale. And then the ABC is more on what you sold and what you bought or what you produced. And then that's based. So it's sort of based on sales. It's sort of a sales tax more than the TTB is.
Okay.
And both of them allow you, like if you have to dump a beer or something like that, it didn't turn out the way you want, you dump a beer because I don't want to serve you a bad beer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So when they do that, we dump it and then we get to claim that.
Okay.
So we don't pay taxes on that. But that's it. That's the only exception we have.
Dang.
And we have to report that TTB every 3 months and ABC every month.
Yeah.
Wow. Monthly?
Monthly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And it's because of alcohol. These are probably
yeah, alcohol's definitely the most regulated business in the world. It's even more regulated than the banks you put your money in.
I believe that. I used to work in
or
banking.
medical or anything else.
I saw some crazy things happen
Yeah.
in 2007.
Yeah, you worked there right in 2007.
Yeah. Oh, 07, yeah.
Yeah, I was just rolling around in money.
I didn't actually see this, but I heard stories.
That's where you bought the mansion from. I can't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're paying $60 a month. It's gonna go up later, but I don't know.
The American taxpayer paid for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I just skirted out of there after my bonuses.
So which is my room?
Yeah, that was pretty wild. It was pretty wild during that time. But so regulations. Obviously, people, if they want to open up a brewery, they need to make sure that they have passion for it.
Yeah,
it sounds like the regulations are actually pretty navigable.
It's pretty straightforward, navigable. I mean, you're still dealing with IRS, so the language is weird.
Okay.
And then ABC is more straightforward, but they take a little longer.
Did you have to get a lawyer to help you out with navigating any of this?
A lot of people do. We did not. No.
Okay.
Yeah. And from my there's a lot of forums online that you can go to talk to people about who have open breweries or are doing this at the same time as you are, and so most of them just counseled me to not hire somebody to do it. That it's easy enough to do on my own.
Okay.
And I found that was true.
Got it.
So if you can actually fill out your tax return, you can probably do this as far as regulations go.
That's great.
Yeah.
I don't fill out a tax return, but
Yeah,
Zoe does.
I do.
So yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So, you said you like German beers, German and Belgian style.
German and Belgian.
What is your current favorite sipping beer right now?
Saison is always my favorite beer.
Saison.
Saison's my favorite beer.
And you have one on tap.
Saison does not mean session. It also doesn't mean your sister. These are comments we get in the brewery.
Wait, what is a Saison?
Yeah, what is a Saison?
Yeah, what is a Saison?
So a Saison is a farmhouse beer. So what happened in the old days in France, northern France, southern Belgium, they had farms. And so the farmer would brew his own beer for his workers to have at lunch or dinner. They brewed two types. One was called a Saison, one was called a Bier de Garde, which was the winter beer, which was a little higher in alcohol.
Okay.
To get you through the winter months.
Yeah.
Right? So Saison, literally you can do anything with a Saison. It's the most flexible of styles of beers. You'll see sour Saisons. You'll see like ours. Right now we have an orange honey Saison.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have all that kind of stuff. So you can play around a lot, which is one of the reasons why I like it. I homebrewed for over 20 years, and so Saison was my favorite style to make of that, and that was part of it. The other part is if I was going to choose another one, it would be a triple, which we haven't made yet. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So those are like ass kicking or butt kicking beers.
They are.
I just said that I wasn't going to swear, but yeah, whatever.
they're like 9% or so. Yeah. They're pretty up there,
Yeah.
So yeah.
I used to love triples. I lived in Spain for a little while, and then Spain has kind of not very good beer, but it has okay beer.
There's some good cervezas in Spain.
Yeah, there's some good cervezas, but I remember I wanted something that was a little bit more because I wanted something that was more hard hitting. So there was
So you got a Belgian?
Yeah, there was one Belgian bar
yeah.
in Madrid that I used to get on the train because I lived in Toledo. I get on the train and go to that one place.
So how far a train ride was that?
It was 20 minutes. It was.
Oh,
I live in Toledo.
I
in
live
Toledo.
That's not much of a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, that's a beer drink, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 hours, and then I would sit there and I get really drunk, and then take the 5 hours back.
Well, at least you had a train. You weren't driving.
Yeah. Exactly.
Sleep on the car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
So when you're opening up a new location, because obviously you kind of hit a good niche here in Canyon County.
Yeah.
But you're going to be looking to possibly open up another spot. What would you recommend people look for if they have the gumption to go ahead and do it? They have the passion, but then they're trying to find that location.
If we're strictly talking about breweries, open up next to food places.
Okay.
That way you don't have to do the food.
So smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then you generate more business because people aren't coming for 1 beer or 2 beers, getting hungry
Exactly.
and leaving.
Now, the other thing is put yourself around other breweries. I mean,
Okay.
if you look
Yeah.
at Garden City and how many breweries and cideries and wineries they have down there,
True.
there's enough to make people go down there. If you're by yourself, it's a bad place to be. You don't want to be the first one. You don't want to be the first duck that lands on the pond, sort of thing.
Okay.
So that's what I would say. Look around. Is there enough food sources that, we allow people to bring food in our place. We also are about to launch a hot dog cart. Yep. So we're going to have kielbasa's, beer brats.
Oh, nice.
Chorizos and hot dogs. And so you need food with the beer because otherwise people will get up and get hungry and leave.
Yeah.
Right. So we need somebody to keep their butts in the seats.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So
That's a good point too about like being around other people too, because I feel like sometimes there's a mentality when you open up a business where you see everyone that's not you as like kind of like a competition.
Yeah.
You don't want to,
Yeah.
where it's more about collaboration.
Well, that's what
guess.
I love about downtown Napa is everybody collaborating.
Yeah.
So much. Yeah. It's just a fun place to be at.
Yeah. So you're not screaming across the street to pre-funk.
Absolutely. No.
That's
No.
my customer.
Unless you're yelling, come over here, people that work there.
I do have to hold my tongue when I go in there and I go, how come I haven't seen you in the last couple of days? But, you can't do that. Not and keep good relations with pre-funk. But pre-funk has been fantastic for us. I can't tell you how many questions I've asked them because their business and our business are very similar. When it comes down to it, yeah, we're making our own beer, but they sell great beer, and it hasn't hurt them and it hasn't hurt us. So cool. And
Awesome.
the food choices we have around it are fantastic too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's turning into a place to hang out
It
downtown
is.
Nampa.
Yeah, when I moved here, I remember, when did we move here? 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was there was pre-funk and then that was it. It was just
That was
kinda-
it, yeah.
It was
Messenger-
pre-funk and
well,
Messenger.
Messenger was there,
It's
yeah,
pre-funk
yeah.
and Messenger, but it's
Yeah.
like if you didn't want pizza, you were kind of like
You're out.
Yeah. You ate pizza anyways.
Yeah.
yeah,
Those were the
or
choices.
breadsticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Right on. So is there anything coming up that people should know about at 2C Family Brewing?
Yeah, absolutely. So tonight is which I don't know when you're going to publish this.
We upload it. It'll probably be up by 7.
Okay,
Yeah.
so tonight we have Brushes and Brews, which is come in and paint and drink beer, which is always good to see what people come up with.
Oh, cool.
They get a little tipsy. Like I said, there's a secret release of it's called Song of Solomon Dark Chocolate Quad.
Cool.
And that one's, we're going to release it officially tomorrow. And then next week on Thursday, we have our Chamber of Commerce ribbon cutting with Mesa and with Holy Cow Burgers.
Okay.
We're all cutting our ribbons at the same time, so that should be fun.
Nice.
And we have Danger Beard up playing that night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which is fantastic band.
Yes, the Brewers
Yeah,
band.
that's Daniel's band, yeah.
Oh,
Which is-
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really solid. He's a really good drummer too.
Yeah,
Oh, dang it.
He's got all the skills.
It's come out and get your funk on
Yeah.
at 2C. That's what
Sweet.
it is. Yeah.
Love
Cool.
it.
Well, thanks for coming on. Should we end with a joke in a hat?
Yeah, let's do a joke in the hat.
Take a joke from a hat. When you read it, I'll bet that you make someone laugh. It's a joke from a hat.
Who would like to do the honor? I have this week's hat is from Ecuador. It's a wool hat and it's 100% manufactured in Ecuador.
Have you worn it?
I'm sure I have. I don't remember.
That's a little scary. Now.
Do you want to do it? You
I'm
gonna do
doing it. I was
Okay.
scared because I'm allergic to wool, but
Oh, okay.
I went for it.
You went quick.
All right, everyone. What is the best way to keep your ears warm on a cold, wintry day? Cover them with your hands.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's a bad one.
That's a bad
Yeah.
one. Can we pick another?
Nope, only one.
Only one.
We haven't run into a good one yet, though.
All right.
So.
We're going for
So
the
we're keeping the
record.
streak low. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. You can go to LowerGentryStudios.com to catch this episode of Treasure Valley Podcast as well as previous episodes of Treasure Valley Podcast. Also, Twin Falls Sandwiches Film Festival is going to be coming up here in a short while. You'll be able to see us there. If you're looking for a film festival, Lower Gentry Studios will be representing with their web series and our
Sweet.
web series, Canyon County.
Sweet.
All right.
Is that okay?
Yeah, perfect.